Yo, what's going on, guys? Mustache MMA here. We are going to check out my tracker for quarter one of 2022 results. We're going to see where we're at so far overall. Take a dive into some specific markets that we're in and see how we're doing, and get a little bit more specific into the tracker, just so you guys are aware of how I'm doing overall and how I'm doing in specific areas, and that way it will help you decide if you want to continue to tail me in those directions or not, or even potentially fade me if you want. But yeah, I wanted to do this video probably quarterly to show some transparency with my viewers, to kind of show you where I'm at, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into my tracker. All right, so I guess I'll start with the breakdown results. Obviously, it's not as more in depth because we're not talking about putting any money on the line. This is just talking who I think is going to win the fight, and not taking any really odds into consideration. But I did kind of create some stats based on closing odds, if you will. So you can see here. 2022 record so far, 69% correct. That's actually pretty solid for MMA. I think it's pretty solid overall as well. But I think anything really over 65%, maybe even 60% is considered good for MMA. I'm not exactly sure. I did take a quick look into Tapology to kind of see like the top guys, what their percentages were. And when you click on a decent sample size of these pickers, if you will, they're all sitting at around the best are sitting at a little over 70%, and high 60s is a lot of people as well. So I think that's a really good spot to be in, especially for the year. We'll see if we see some regression, but hopefully not. And you can even see here, I had a really good February and a really good March. February hit 74%, March hit 71%. So yeah, really looking to continue strong with all that, with all the good picks going in throughout the year. And then breaking it down by kind of where we're at with the odds, selecting the favorites. So I did it anything minus 120 or above. So for the year 2022, I'm hitting 77%, which I'm not sure if that's good or not. I want to say it's good, but again, these are favorites. These are guys who should be winning the fight a majority of the time based on what the sports books are saying. And again, similar spots here as February and March are pretty dominant percentages. And then taking a look at the dogs here as well. So, 2022 results for the dog selections, hitting 53%. I mean, that's pretty solid. If you're betting the dog every time, I'm obviously going to be winning money on that. And these dogs are at least plus 100 or more. Same thing, February, March were pretty solid. January, not as good. And then I also just threw the pick'ems in here as well. There's not a whole lot to go off of, only 6 pick'ems so far. But yeah, not too much of a great showing with the pick'ems, but they're pick'ems. They're difficult to predict. And yeah, just a reminder with all these, the breakdown stats, they're not based on odds. They're based on who I think is going to pick. But breaking it down into these categories, I think is a cool thing to see. And the way I did it is I based off the closing odds of the best odds you could get at close for all the sports books. So I got all that information on best fight odds. You can actually go ahead and search in the archives all the different cards that have happened in the past, and you can kind of see where those odds have closed and select the best odds, if you will, in the sports books. But yeah, and if we go over here into the actual breakdowns of results, you can see, every single fight so far that happened this year, my selection, and even the odds here. This is where all that information pulls from. We'll go on to my overall betting results here. So I hope you guys can see that all right. I guess we'll keep it at this one. So we can kind of see here, each card, how good I performed and how poor I performed. So as you can see, and this is combining both best bets and parlay plays. So I will separate those out after this, but this is combining all. So it's a total overall performance of the card and how I did. So as you can see, best card I had so far was UFC 271, cleared over 10 units on that card. So that was a really great performance. Another great performance was UFC 272, where I cleared over 8 units. So pretty solid showing for some of the pay-per-views so far. So, April first pay-per-view, first card in April is a pay-per-view. So we'll see how I do with that one. And then just kind of continuing on with this, as you can see, performance has been pretty solid showing so far. I mean, I only had 4 negative cards so far out of 10. And those negative numbers have not gone over 1.5 units. So pretty solid to, if I don't have the best performance, I'm not necessarily drowning in how do I say it? I'm not drowning in debt, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better term. And then we can even break down these totals here to the month. So as you can see, January was essentially a break-even month, returning 0.1 units, and then doing much better in February and March, clearing 11.75 units in February and 12.2 units in March. So overall for the year, I'm up a little over 24 units. So pretty solid showing for the quarter. If we can continue that that showing, I'll be like just under 100 units for the year, which would be sick. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I hit some regression periods or if I can continue what I did in this quarter. But yeah, solid showing so far with the overall results. We can move into the best bet stats. Now, these are the stats that get a little bit more in depth and a little bit, into the specific markets of bets that I place. And we can kind of see where I'm performing well, where I'm performing bad, and may give me some better ideas of areas that I may not want to bet anymore, or areas that I may want to obviously continue to bet. So 2022 record so far, 48% of my selections have been correct. So pretty solid, especially since we're throwing a lot of plus money in there. And also a lot of my picks, I will say, are not really ever over the -200 mark. So it's not like I have huge favorites that I'm throwing units on. It's more of, close to even money plays or plus money plays. And then you'll even see over here on the 2022 net, I'm up over 12.86 units. I'm up on the year for my best bets specifically. You can see most of that comes in March. 11.55 units just in March. So yeah, I mean, you'll see that consistently as we go through here. February, March have been a good performances in those months, if you will. Some interesting stats here we can point out. The minus money plays I'm hitting at 60%. Plus money plays I'm hitting at 40%. But if you look at the net return of these, so minus money plays, I'm netting just under 5 units. And then my plus money plays, I'm netting just under 8 units. So even though the percentages are obviously less with the plus money, I am getting a higher return on those. And there also is a higher frequency of me placing plus money plays. As you can see, 55 of my plays are plus money, as opposed to 40 of my plays are minus money. But still, yeah, pretty solid for the minus and plus money plays. They're both positive. So I can even break it down even a little further here to 2 unit plays, 1 unit plays, half unit plays, all in the positive, which is sick. 2 unit plays are hitting at a pretty high percentage. I don't throw them often in there, and I haven't had a 2 unit play in a while. But nevertheless, they hit at a high percentage so far, 71%, and I'm clearing a little under 3 units so far on those. The 1 unit plays, definitely the most frequent, obviously, and as you can see, clearing the most units on those. almost 8.4 units. And then half unit plays, obviously the percentages aren't going to be high on these, but generally my half unit plays are on a lot higher odds. You'll notice and you'll see. So you'll see I'm even positive on these plays as well, up 1.65 units, which is pretty solid. Yeah, just and then a couple other these stats here. These orange categories here, they will eventually add up to the totals up here. And then these pink categories, they add up to the orange categories above them. Just so we don't get a little lost and confused. My key is over here. I just don't want to zoom out my screen too much. That way you guys won't be able to see everything that I want to show you at least. So yeah, I'm not going to go through each and every one of these stats, but I do want to point out a few that I think are interesting. So you'll see a lot of the times I do play money line and over under plays. So this is like a specific parlay that you can play as a single bet on DraftKings, and it hasn't fared well for me so far. You know, they're very appetizing to me because you can get decent favorites at a good price at an over 1.5 or over 2.5 play. And usually I see that and, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this guy is good. He's going to get a late finish or he's going to go to decision. And I'm not confident on the decision. So give me the money line and the over 1.5. I'll get a good price on it rather than just taking the straight money line. And yeah, it hasn't fared well, only hitting 30% and down almost 5 units on that. So that is something where I may want to stay away from. I don't think I'm going to stay away from it just yet. You know, we only have 10 bets on it, so it's not really a sufficient sample size to determine, you know, we should stay away from it. But it is something in the back of my mind where I will be thinking when I'm placing my bets that, you know, maybe it's not the best play. Maybe I should go in a different direction because obviously it hasn't fared very successful so far. And, you know, going down here, we can see a couple other ones, you know, slightly above, slightly below. And the last one I wanted to point out, which is the one where I'm clearing the most units, is method of victory plays, and more specifically, the win by decision plays, those prop bets. I win a good amount of money off of those. As you can see, hitting almost 50%, which is pretty solid because these are generally, these plays are generally near even or plus money. So as you can see here with the net, I'm clearing over 10.5 units for these plays. So these have been my money maker for sure with my bets. So really good performance to see out of those. And that's pretty much it. We get into some more like very, very specific props that I don't play often because the odds are a little crazy and it's definitely very hard to tell if that will hit or not. But yeah, so let's actually scoot over just a little bit here. And boom. Okay, there we go. So these are also just individual card performances, just the best bets. So you can see here a couple pretty solid performances here. UFC 272 cleared over 6 units. UFC Fight Night Volkov Aspinall, the card in London, cleared 6 units. 271 cleared 4.25 units. And then again, similar to the overall results, I mean, I do have a decent amount of negative performances here, 5 out of 10 actually, but you know, again, none of them are really like a huge loss. You know, they're near even losses. My biggest loss was actually last card, minus 1.83 units, but sometimes my parlay plays come in and positive and kind of wash me out. But yeah, so far pretty solid performances overall for January, February, March. And then same thing over here as the breakdown stuff. You know, you can see every single bet I've ever placed here, and if they've won or not, the units that will be returned, the odds I got it at, the unit size, etc. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into parlay play stats as well. So you can see on the year hitting 33%, which isn't bad for the parlays because essentially they're always plus money. And you'll see the 2022 net so far, netting over 11 units. So again, these have been pretty solid as well. Having really good performances on these in February, but March it was essentially break even, and January was a decent plus money month, if you will. So then going into the stats here, there's not as many stats because I think it's a little more difficult to track these stats. So these are the only ones I came up with that I think were easier to track. So even money parlays, they're at 75% hitting. That's really solid, especially since most of these even money parlays are, at plus 100, between plus 100 and plus 200. That's solid. So you can really see that's a majority of where my money comes from. Actually, all my money comes from my even money parlays, clearing over 15 units. So really solid with those. And you'll see with juicy parlays and long shot parlays, the percentages drops drastically. And as you'll see, I'm netting in the negative for both of those categories of parlays. So yeah, it may be something where you guys may not want to tail my juicy and long shot parlays anymore because they're not necessarily performing well. They're performing in the negative, and the even money parlays are always solid performers. Up 15 units on the year. So if I just continued to do even money parlays only, I'd be better off where more than not. But again, it's fun to play parlays. The higher the odds, the more exciting things get. I've been close for sure on some of these juicy and long shot parlays, but they haven't hit. That's how those parlays go. But yeah. And then you also see, based on the odds of where these parlays are, these are where these are where they performed, where they cashed, whatever you may want to say there. So yeah, minus 200 to minus 121, 2-0, but these are parlays that essentially a leg gets avoided and it's essentially a straight bet. But yeah, still cleared units there. And then the actual really like even money parlay category here, 15 and 5, again, same thing as the even money parlays up top, clearing a little over 15 units. And then you'll just see kind of where we're at for all these specific other odds of category of odds for parlays. So as we progressively get down, they all seem to be in the negative. But again, I'm still going to play with them. It's not like I put a crazy amount of units on these juicy and long shot parlays. Between the two, I put between the 4 parlays that I do for the juicy and long shot parlays. It's only a unit and a half between all 4 of those parlays, so it's not like I'm really throwing a ton of bankroll on those. And then yeah, again, wanted to just show you the individual card results here. As you can see, I only had really one great performer, which was UFC 271, clearing just under 6 units. And then most of my other ones were like, slightly in the positive, slightly above. Let's see, 1, 2, only had 3 negative cards. So that's pretty solid. And seeing the other ones here, most of them are a little bit over a unit and a half in returns. So pretty solid showing, not gonna lie. And then same thing here. You can see, all the parlays I played here, the amount of legs that hit, wins, losses, returns, type of parlay, units on there, odds on there, etc. So yeah, that is essentially the quick breakdown of my tracker. I think it's really important for you guys to potentially have a tracker as well if you're playing your own bets. Obviously, if you're telling me all the way, you have my tracker here instead, and I can track it for you guys. But the plan is to eventually have this tracker available to the public, and I'll have the link to it in my YouTube descriptions. Still working out the logistics on that. I think I just need to kind of create a Excel workbook in Google Docs, and that can be viewed by the public. I'll just have to like lock it so no one can edit it. And then, anybody can essentially, who has a Google account, or I think YouTube makes you have a Google account, you can go in there, you can check out all the results for yourself and see where I'm currently at and where I'm at in current markets and so on and so on. So I think it'll be a really cool thing and a really nice, transparent thing for you guys to see and see where I'm at. So yeah, that's all I want to do for this video, since we don't have a card this Saturday, but I should have a video coming up Sunday for UFC 273. So yeah, looking forward to. I'm watching the tape right now on those guys. So I should be on track to get that out by Sunday. So fingers crossed that I can keep that date. But yeah, I'm really excited for that 273 card. Should be really fun. A lot of great fights on there. But yeah, this will be a quarterly video. I'll come out and just kind of break down where I'm at for the quarter, where I'm at for the year, et cetera, and show a little more transparency for you guys. Thanks a lot guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the sub button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Yeah, peace out.